You're listening to the Crew Book Club podcast, the show that challenges you to change your mindset through hearing about dope books. Thanks for hanging with the crew to get advice, ask questions, and gain knowledge with me, your host, Sade Hill. What up, crew? What's good? Welcome to another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. I'm always ecstatic to get on here and chop it up with you all. Listen, how are you feeling? I am feeling good. It's been a week, a good week. Nothing overly crazy happened, but I'm excited. I was just having a conversation with a friend. I was like, girl, I just be excited. I'd be excited about life. I'd be excited to just wake up in the morning. So that's a very privileged and grateful place to be in. And you just have to choose to do that every day. Like, we have to understand we always have a choice. And if you wake up in the morning and you say, oh my God, it's going to be one of them days, you're already setting the precedent. It's going to be one of them days. But if you wake up and be like, this is going to be an amazing, great day, even if something happens, we're going to continue to keep it keep it pushing, move forward, and keep going. Like, that's all we got to do. We're not going to ball up. We just going to make this happen. We are solution-based. Not complaining based, not problem based. We are about solutions over here. Okay? So hope you are feeling good. But sis, if you're not, hopefully listen to this entire pod. And when you leave, you be like, all right, Sade, I'm ready. Let's get it. I'm ready to go. Bump what I'm feeling. I don't want to be overly emotional. I'm going to check my feels because my feels be playing tricks on me. And we going to keep it G. I'm going to force myself to change my mind and make the choice today. It's going to be a good day. Okay? So let's get into who gonna check me, boo. He is always checking us. We love a good chizek. This week was more of like a confirmation check. It came from the devotional Bible app series, I Am. And this one was about being creative. I am creative. We come from a creator who wants us to be more like a creator. And we just got to keep creating. You know, as a creative, we get discouraged. You know, it's like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Am I doing the right thing? Do I have enough energy to do the things that I want to do? And I'm realizing, like, every day, God gives us a renewed energy to do His will and His purpose. And I think the times in my life where I was struggling on what my purpose and what my will was that God would want me to do. You know, I remember before I quit one of my jobs, I was literally crying in the car. And I was like, this is not what God would want for me. To be crying before I go into a job, I should not be in this space. God designed us to be happy in Him. Yes, things will happen and we will overcome them because, you know, we are overcomers. But it's just like, I shouldn't be crying going into my job. I shouldn't be dreading waking up in the morning. And what I'm realizing is the fact that I'm doing real estate and I'm doing this podcast, and I really truly feel like this is what God's want me to do, because no matter what happens, I constantly wake up excited to do this. It will be 4:30 on a Saturday morning, ideas be popping out my head, and I'm like, let's go. Let's get it. I'm excited. I have stayed up to 3:00 in the morning, too excited, on 10 to get things done. And I think once you find out what God's will and God's purpose is for you, and you accept it, because that's the key. I feel like a lot of times God be telling us exactly what to do, but we be in denial. But the moment that you accept it, He's going to give you the renewed energy to fulfill the purpose He has for you. So that's just the confirmation of who going to check me. Get out there, be creative, and don't think it's just coloring or being an artist or whatnot. Your creative could be cooking, making cakes. Your creative could be talking to people to inspire people. Like, God blesses us with gifts, each of us with gifts. And we can use them spiritually for His will and His purpose. And that was the scripture, 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10. God has given each of you a gift from His great variety of spiritual gifts. Use them well to serve one another. So that was the Who Gon Check Me Boo. God is, sis, go out there, continue to be creative and let God use you. All right? All right. Let's get some crew love. Now, I get a lot of crew love online. I get a lot of crew love on, the YouTube page. I get people sharing things. And when I'm out networking, people are like, oh my God, I love your podcast. It's hella dope. But I need you guys to drop a review in the Apple review. I know some of you probably like, well, I don't have an iPhone. I don't listen to this on Apple. You know somebody with an iPhone, okay? Like when... Go to the Apple store, play with the phone on there, go to the podcast, leave a review. I would really love it. And that's just to help with quote unquote algorithm. Not that I care about that, but it's good. I want to spread the good news. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to spread. I think this podcast is it's so much dope information. And I just want to share. I just want everybody to know about it. Not because of me. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we want to hear good things that we're doing, but this information is purely to better ourselves. And I don't want to be bettering myself by myself. Okay. So leave a review, please. Thank you so much. All right. I think you can do it on Spotify too. I'm not sure, but I know you can leave 5 stars on Spotify, but on the Apple, leave written reviews. I would really appreciate it. Show me some crew love there, because I'm always giving you guys crew love, and I'm gonna continue to do it. I do stuff out of love. Okay, all right. Remember, we are partner with Audible. So if you're like, girl, I ain't got time to read these books, I listen to you, that's enough. But another thing you can do is listen to audible.com/crewlove. You get a free 30-day premium plus experience. This book is on there. You can listen to it. I also recommend ordering it, even if you don't actually read it. When you want to go back and reference something or how to say something, this book is good to have on deck. You can click the show notes, and the links for the Audible experience is there, and as well as to order a book, to order the book too. All right, so let's just go on in these chapters 10 and 11, and this is about setting boundaries with family and in romantic relationships. I feel like these are the hardest boundaries to set. It's easier to set boundaries with strangers, I feel like. But when it comes to your family and those romantic relationships, because they're so emotional, filled, and driven, they're the hardest boundaries to set. But they are the most worth it to set. Because strangers, it's like, if they don't accept the boundary, okay, cool, I ain't going to see you again. But when it comes to your family, we going to see them. We can't choose our family, right? We can choose to be around them every day, but we can't choose the family that we're born in. And to save our relationships and to keep them healthy, we need boundaries, because we want our family to be around. I know you probably like, girl, I don't want my family to but having a healthy tribe and a healthy family is definitely key. And at least try to put in the work, sis. All right, it's very beneficial for family. And in romantic relationships, don't be hard to set boundaries, but they are worth it for your peace. Okay, so it already starts off with a good quote on chapter 10, family. Tough love is you creating and keeping healthy boundaries. Now, let's go ahead and get into page 173, which I felt like was a necessity to talk about today. She has a section that says, you become an adult when you set boundaries with your parents. Yeah, you ain't no adult because you pay bills. You ain't no adult until you set them boundaries with your parents, because that parent-child relationship, that's a whole nother dynamic you have to reset when we get to being an adult. Because I feel like a lot of parents, and I don't know about you, but for me, it just feel like it'd be hard for them to accept the fact that I'm a grown-ass woman. Okay? You are not in control of my decisions. Fall the freak back. Specifically if I didn't ask you. All right? she says, how do we stand up to the most influential forces in our life? How do you change your relationship with that of a child to that of an adult child? They know what to say to trigger you and to get what they want. You may understand what your parents desires merely by reading their body language or noticing a shift in their mood. We all been there. And if you say you didn't, you telling a story. You be doing something around your parent, and then usually when they see you, hey baby, I love you, but then be like, hey, be dry, passive, and be like, what's wrong with you? Nothing. Clearly. Anyway, she on page 174, it says boundaries with your parents look like. She gives 15, but I'm gonna give you my top. I'm gonna just say 7 for the sake of time. And these are the ones that I struggle with or really hit home for me. Expressing your feelings openly, giving them rules about your house, withholding intimate details of your relationship, not painting your partner in a negative light to your parents, saying no to gifts that are given with the hope of specific behavior from you, telling your parents that you don't want to be asked about your dating life, having kids, getting married, or any other topic that makes you feel uncomfortable. And then the other one I like to say is staying in a hotel instead of staying with family when you visit them. See, this is what the one that really hit for me, and I had issues with this from both of my parents, mom and dad. Saying no to gifts that are given with the hope of specific behavior from you. One particular thing, be open, honest, and transparent. And I hope me and my mom have moved away from this if she listening to this podcast. My biggest thing was we had a situation where I was engaged before my marriage. Now, I was engaged to a guy, and I knew deep down I really didn't want to do it, but because we had a daughter, I felt like, ooh, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And it was my senior year in college, didn't have any money, but I knew I wanted to have a wedding. Well, I knew whatever, it's complicated. I went to therapy for it. So we were going to get married, and I don't know if y'all remember the bridal company Alfred Angelo's. All of my friends were there. We were having a really good time, and I was just trying on dresses. My expectations wasn't to buy a dress or anything. I was just like, let me see which one I like so I can either, one, save the money for or apply for a credit card. And wrong way of thinking, don't be putting a wedding on a credit card. I just feel like don't do it from a real estate perspective. But anywho, we're all there. My mom is there, yada, yada, yada. My friends are there, like all of my friends. It's like 9 of us. It's my real life crew, my day ones. And we get to the counter. She rings. She lets me know how much the dress costs, because I tried this dress on like 3 times. And I was like, yeah, this is the one. I wanted to get an exact amount of how much it would cost so I can let my fiance know, so we know how much we need to save. I wasn't expecting nothing from no one for this wedding. And my mom whispers in my ear, she said, I'm going to get this dress for you as a gift. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Mom. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She buys the dress. It comes back. Child, I did end up marrying a guy. Never had a wedding. Never wore it. So I ended up marrying my current husband probably like a year later. And we eloped, like you guys know, I've said it before in the pod. We eloped, and I never wore a dress. Some time passed. I become more financially stable, I guess you can say. And then every time I would have a success, it would be brought to my attention. Oh, you gonna give me the money back for the dress? Oh, you owe me for this dress. And I'm like, I do not owe you for this dress. You brought this dress as a gift. Last year, I found out she admits to saying, well, I brought you your wedding dress for your graduation, and then I still end up giving you $1,000 for your graduation. And I'm like, that's you. Like, these were gifts to me, but to have the expectation of wanting it back, I was just like baffled at this whole situation. And I feel like I couldn't share my successes with her, because every time it was a dig about this wedding dress. And I know some people are like, oh, you should just give her the money back. And it'd be like, yeah, I mean, if I feel like it, but I shouldn't be underlined, treated a certain way because of a gift that you given me. So I had to make it very clear, please do not do anything for me if it comes with contingencies. Like that's a boundary that has to be set. Even with my dad, I remember graduating and him and his wife gifted me $500 for graduation. Very thankful and appreciative because I have nothing. And my husband and I moved to Orlando with the money that I got from graduation. I think it was like $1,500 to literally get a Penske truck, move into our apartment. We didn't have furniture for like 3 months because we was waiting for tax returns to come back to get stuff from freaking IKEA. So like we were struggling. And I remember Christmas came around and I used the little bit of money we had to even do Christmas with family in Jacksonville. Okay. And I got everybody a card. And in my parents' card, I specifically said, when my husband and I get extra money from tax return, we will get you guys a gift. It's just right now we do not have it. We appreciate y'all and love y'all, yada, yada, yada. Why my dad like called me, well, you could have got a candle, you could have did this, you could have did that. And I'm just like, and you need to do for people who do for you. And I'm like, honestly, you could have kept the money because I don't even like the fact that you felt like I owed you something because you did something for me. And from that day forward, like, I don't want no one doing nothing for me. If I invite you to a party, to an event as a parent or anybody, it's like, come, don't be obligated to get me nothing. Specifically, if you think just because you did it, I should do it back for you. No, I do not want that. And I liked how she touched on that because I do be feeling like parents be feeling obligated to your success or obligated when they do something for you because I'm your parent, I did it for you, you should automatically turn around and do something for me. Like, no, that's a boundary that needs to be set. So I appreciate her because the struggle for me was real. Because, you know, specifically when you need it and you struggling and a parent does something for you, but then the moment that you become successful, it's like, well, I'm your parent, I raised you, you owe me this. It's like, no, I do not owe you nothing. If anything, I'm trying to build my wealth so my kids won't have to worry about them owing me anything. I need to be setting them up so I won't setting myself up and them up so I won't need nothing from them when they get older and I get old. So yeah, I like that. Now on page 175, it talks about boundaries with your parents should sound like. So if you need help trying to express to them what to say, she gives some options. I'm going to just touch on 3 that kind of associated with what the boundary for parents look like. One was, I like to express my feelings without being told that certain emotions aren't okay because what I do go through is valid. For an example, I remember I had a friend of mine and she was like, I don't even want to tell my mama about my relationship ending because she going to be like, I told you so, yada, yada, yada. And the last time I told her about a man that I cried about, she was like, you shouldn't be crying over no man. But those emotions are valid. Don't make me feel less than because I'm showing emotion. Another one, about the money thing. I won't accept money from you if it comes with the intention that I do something to earn that money or that you will talk about my borrowing money. I never borrowed money, but hell, gifting it, don't give me something if it's going to come with contingencies. Another one was that, and you know, I don't disagree with a lot, but this particular one I disagree with. I'm a vegetarian. I'd like you to keep that in mind when you prepare meals for family gatherings. I'm kind of teetered on that because it's kind of like, if you know everybody in your family not vegetarian, and vegetarian food can be very expensive. Like I just learned to bring my own dishes when I'm going to a big family event. Like times are already hard enough. Like I'm not going to expect someone to go out their way. And half the time when people go out their way to cook something vegetarian, they don't even know how to, and it don't even taste good, and they're not even going to eat it. So for me, I just recommend bringing my own food. But I can see why, like if someone's intentionally not making you feel comfortable, that's different. But for me, it's just like, if you chose to be on a whole different way of eating and lifestyle, then you can't expect everybody to adjust to that. But yeah, she also touched on boundaries about holidays, boundaries about with in-laws, what those sound like. She also discusses boundaries with other family members. She also discusses boundaries with co-parenting. And I really want to hit on this, boundaries with children. It's more so teaching kids how to have healthy boundaries. And I feel like I'm trying to be the parent that changes that narrative, because I felt like when I was growing up, it was just like, girl, you don't have no feelings. What you know about feelings? You a child. What you know about this and that? But let me tell you, these kids, in their minds, what they're experiencing is valid. And I feel like as parents, we have to validate those emotions. Okay. Adults need to remember that kids have feelings and benefit significantly from being allowed to explore and express those feelings. They have to understand kids are impacted by things that adults expose them to, affected how adults respond to their problems, and hold memories about how adults make them feel. So important. It's like we got to learn our lessons here. We know what trauma and resentment came with how our parents dismissed our feelings. So I'm trying to change that narrative for my child's relationship. And she gives some examples of boundaries that a child might set sound like. Can you please stop saying mean things about daddy? You never pay attention to me. Why don't you just listen? I don't want to give you a hug. I need you to put down your phone and spend more time with me. I don't like talking to grandma. She always mean to me. The author says it's important to listen to children when they make requests like these and to honor their boundaries whenever possible. One of the things that kind of hit for me was, I need you to put down your phone and spend more time with me. Being a realtor, my phone is glued to my hip all day, every day. But I remember when my child, she would start hiding my phone, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's a sign. It's bad. Or when you are doing on social media all the time, and they're sitting there and pulling your phone and trying to get your attention, that's their way of telling you without telling you. So that was the one that hit for me. So I had to learn how, like, if I'm playing with her, let me put the phone down and be 100% attentive to her and paying attention. And there's times where I put the timer on. I say, hey, mommy has 30 minutes to play. Let's play for 30 minutes. And then after that, mommy really needs to get this done. So that was something that I had to put in effect, and it has really helped a lot. But yeah, I really like those key points in chapter 10 that hit for me. Definitely check out the book and read about the other ones, because I'm pretty sure we all can use help with those co-parenting boundaries and in-law boundaries. Thank God I love my in-laws. I don't have to worry about that one. But it's still important to set boundaries, even with the people that you do have relationships with. To keep them healthy, continue to set some boundaries. All right. Now, if you're having issues with set boundaries with family, specifically parents, I highly recommend getting therapy with your parent and trying to heal so you guys can be on the same page and heal together. I've partnered up with Peter.God, and I'm sure you can find a therapist on there for parenting and child therapy, so click on the link in the show notes for betterhelp.com/crewlove to get 10% off your first month of therapy. And I'm like, y'all, even if you don't continue, just try it for 1 month. Just try it. I mean, hell, do one session. Just give yourself a shot. It's 10% off. I know they have financial assistance as well if they don't take your insurance, your type of insurance, or if your insurance doesn't allow therapy. Ask for the help. BetterHelp is really good at that. Just communicate those needs and what you can afford, and they have payment. They can help you with that payment. So go to betterhelp.com/crewlove, and they are the sponsor of this episode. So thank you for the partnership with BetterHelp. Go to betterhelp.com/crewlove, and the link will be in the show notes as well. All right, so let's talk about romantic relationships a little bit. Not gonna stay too long on it because I want to continue it on next episode, because I just feel like we can't just skip through romantic relationships. But in the beginning, she quotes, "We don't naturally fall into perfect relationships. We create them." I thought that was a really good point. Like, stuff just not, I've been married 12 years this year. And let me tell you, it's work. And when people think of work, it's not like daunting work. It's just you choosing to be with this person and to grow with them and to learn from them and to accept them as they are and as they grow. Because if you marry someone now, they're going to be different 6-7 years later. And if they're not different, are they really growing? Are you growing? So anyway, let's talk about the biggest thing. Setting expectations. And she talks about that on page 193. It reads, "Set expectations at any point in your relationship, but the sooner, the better. From this space of clear knowing, you can create intentional agreements in your relationships that provide clarity. It's fun at the beginning of a relationship. We often seem easy to please, but the most pleasing thing you can do is to be honest, Let's be honest with yourself and the person you are dating." Woo! I feel like so many times we put up with the representative and we try to be our best. As women, I be like, we trying to cook every time he come over. We putting on sexy lingerie. And it's like, that is not everyday life, okay? Okay. She makes some recommendations. At the beginning of a relationship, it's vital to know these things. What is the plan for our relationship? Do you have similar values? Are there any issues that are deal breakers? How will you handle disputes? What is acceptable within the relationship? What unique rules do you want to implement for the relationship? I was listening to a podcast called Pivot with Purpose, episodes 147 and 148. And the guy on there, he's like a married relationship therapist, really dope guy. I can't think of his name right now, but check out those episodes. He made a point that I was just telling a cousin of mine. I was like, I feel like if you're in the dating world, I feel like you should date somebody for like 4 years before you consider having kids with them or marrying them. Because in 4 years, you're going to be able to tell what's up. And the therapist verified what I was saying. He was like, for 3 years, people can put on a whole mask. So all I'm saying is, like, really date somebody for like 4 years. I wouldn't move in with them. I would literally just date them. So that way you can see if a financial issue come up, how they handle it, how they handle stuff with their family, how they handle heartbreak just anything, argumenting, how they deal with their other baby's parents. Like, you really can get an experience with somebody for at least 4 years and then kind of go. And you might be like, oh, that's too long. By 6 months, you should know whether you want to marry somebody. That don't always work. I mean, I knew my husband for a year and we've been married 12 years, but there was a lot of things that most people would have broke up for, but we stayed together and we stuck it out. You know what I'm saying? We almost divorced probably like 3 or 4 times. And one was like real serious. Like the judge just needed to sign off and we end up calling it off. But date somebody for 4 years and listen to that episodes on Pivot with Purpose 147 through 148. She gives us some other things to watch out for. It says, watch for resentment, burnout, frustration, settling, uneasiness, and anger. These emotions will guide you directly to where boundaries are needed in your relationship. And I put a note here. I say, we always talk about signs from another person. What about your own signs? What about those initial feelings that you have? Like, listen to those things, follow those things, and then set the boundary sooner than later. We're going to continue chapter 11 for the sake of time because there's some really good stuff. She talks about fidelity, finances, household, kids, outside forces, and I really want to creating an environment for open communication, and I really want to dive in that. So come back next week for the remaining discussion of chapter 11, romantic relationships. Okay, So let's get into the challenge of the week. Woo! The challenge of the week is family value boundaries. Yes, let's set a family value boundary. And I'm calling it a family value boundary because boundaries are of value for everybody. This is for us to stay connected. I don't want to cut you off, family. I want to stay connected with you, okay? I want to love on you. I want you to love on me. But let me tell you how. So it can be very clear and there will not be any resentment, uneasiness in family events. It won't feel fake. If the boundary is communicated and put into action, we can move forward in having a healthy family relationship. The set of family boundary this week was inspired by the exercise on page 188, which I love about this book too. Each chapter is giving you an opportunity to exercise. And in the exercise, it gave 5 different questions to ask yourself, but I wanted to focus on 2. This week, I want you to name 2 boundaries that you like to implement with your family. What actions or follow-up might be necessary for your family to adhere to your boundaries? And then I want you to I want you to communicate them, and then I want you to put them into action. So this week, and I know it can be challenging, but set a family boundary. Okay, a family value boundary. That is the challenge of the week. Okay, whew, good luck, y'all. Good luck. I've done it with both my mom and my dad, and I'm gonna tell you, the relationships are better because now boundaries are set with both of us. I feel like we're all comfortable communicating what we want from each other, and I'm not feeling like I'm doing things based on the fact that they're my parents because I'm openly communicating and they accepting it. So I challenge you to set your family value boundary. All right. So what would the crew do? Woo. Yes. What would the crew do? We have a scenario. This is our second scenario. You guys are killing it with what would the crew do. I love you guys asking advice. This week was from the crew. It says, I have a friend that is in a relationship I don't agree with. She will ask me my opinion, but I'm nervous to tell her the truth because in the past she has cut me off before because of what I've said about a previous relationship. Should I give her my thoughts and concerns this time? We learned this in the book. She says, be careful how people have responded to you in the past. And also sometimes you may not be equipped for what they need to hear. Okay. And recommend them a therapist. Betterhelp.com/crewlove. Copy the link out of the show notes and send it to them and be like, hey sis, I love you dearly, but I just think I am out of the league to give advice to you on this. And another thing, sometimes it's just be like, they just want to listen. I was having this conversation a few days ago about a friend, and I was like, I'm only here for you to talk to me and tell me your expectations. I can remind you from what you told me and from the expectations you had set. These were your deal breakers. What has changed? And let them kind of figure it out on their own and I'm really trying to focus on this, not giving my advice and opinion on people's relationships because you are you and I am me. And I just don't want that responsibility. So I feel like keep your opinion to yourself, but reiterate to her the things that she said was her deal breakers or her concerns or what she doesn't want to put up with, and then let her make that decision based on her, not what you think. Okay. And just send her the betterhelp.com/crewlove so that way she can put herself in therapy with a therapist who are good at those type of things because you are not the expert. Okay. That's what I would recommend. And also gift her this book. This would be a good book to gift her. Yes. Click on the link, order the book for her, gift it to her. Because that's the type of friend that I want. A friend that's trying to help better me and surrounding me with stuff that's going to better me. That is what you do. Okay. So that was what would the crew do? Ask advice. That's, you know what I'm saying? So quote of the week. Yes. Quote of the week. So you can start your week off right. Hey, in the house tonight. Hey, we're going to start this week off right. All right. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. Yes, So I'm setting the boundary for you and me to be at peace simultaneously. I love that quote. That was by Prentice Hemphill. Have a good one, crew. I love y'all, and I will see you guys next week for another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. Hey! Want to be a part of the crew? Hit that follow button so you'll never miss an episode. And while you're at it, we would appreciate you showing crew love by rating the show on iTunes and Spotify. Don't keep all this goodness to yourself. Share and tell a friend so your whole crew can be growing with you. Let me be the first to tell you, thank you and welcome to the crew.